Hey, what's up, fellas? Doing a quick video for Ricky and all of my other eBay customers who purchased this plate ring burner. All right, so we're back out here at White Sands Proving Ground. And just for contrast, this is the burner that we've seen already. And we were hitting 360 BTUs or 94 kilowatts. This one here is a far bigger deal. This is also called the Banjo burner. This is a self-aspirated version. It doesn't have a blower hookup. And it has an adjustable Ventura nozzle. I'm gonna fire this thing up, just kind of show you guys how to light it, because the instructions don't do much justice when it comes to something like this. You actually have to see it, because we want to get an internal burn going on this burner. This is not a external burner. This is an internal premix burner. I'm gonna take my torch and I'm gonna kind of aim it down inside of the burner there a little bit. I'm gonna add some gas. So now we're just gonna let it heat up for a second before we do any further adjustments. It's a lot more forgiving if you do that. Okay guys, so what we are looking at right here is the low power nozzle. I do have a high power nozzle I'll be sending out with the kit. That's just a little bit of paint catching on fire there. So this is the low power nozzle. The high power nozzle requires an advanced user to operate it. So you're gonna want to practice with this nozzle first. Got some oil on the floor catching on fire is what that was. So there you go, guys. This is the low power nozzle. I'm also going to be shipping this out with a high power nozzle, which is basically just a .03 welding tip. This is the high power, but it requires an advanced user to be able to operate it. You can get more power out of this thing than what we just seen here. So this was one of my first attempts, just trying out a couple of different things. This seemed to work really good, actually. Got a nice good fire coming out. All right, fellas, so coming up here in a second, we're going to see this thing running on blower power. You can connect these things to a blower and get a huge amount of power out of them. Yeah. What's up, fellas? I think I may have just built the most powerful Banjo burner on the market today. I could be wrong, but this thing is so powerful I can't even test it. It's boiled over my test pot. So here's a look at how much gas this thing is burning with the blower off here in a second anyway. I'm just kind of messing with it. Just get an idea of how big the flame actually is. That's with hardly no air at all. But the air causes most of that to be burnt inside the combustion chamber, giving the added benefit of IR temperature that just radiates heat off that thing like crazy. So it can heat a far larger area than just a flame can. Like you can feel the heat standing right here with this thing. That's a pretty big one, yeah. That's a nice sized fireball, guys. That's what we're actually burning. there you have it, fellas. You can modify the version you have or purchase a bigger unit. Hey, what's up, fellas? What we're looking at here is a vaporization coil underneath the Banjo burner that we installed to overcome the limitations of propane bottles. Now, yesterday we had 2 propane bottles connected in tandem with the manifold, running the burner, boiling this garbage can full of water. And we found some extreme limitations to how much power we were able to get out of this thing. So tonight we have implemented a vaporization coil similar to the type you would see on a hot air balloon, but this time it's not. And we also welded some holes closed because I didn't like the way that center fire was acting. So just to give you an idea of how much fuel we can actually get out of the vaporization process, the flame is actually going outside of the frame of the camera. So I have not yet calculated the consumption by weighing the tanks, but there seems to be no limit to the power output available when you're using liquid propane. So we now have the propane tank turned upside down, and we are injecting liquid propane into the vaporization coil. And the ambient heat from this combustion chamber is going to help flash boil the propane. We do not want this vaporization coil to come in actual contact with the combustion chamber, or else it could inhibit the combustion. So we have it stood off from the burner about a ½ inch so that only the IR infrared radiation is going to be heating this coil, and it's not going to be sacrificing any heat of the combustion chamber, which is essential to optimum combustion. This thing is ferocious. It's the most phenomenal thing I think I have ever seen in person. It is a lot different in person than on camera. You can feel the power of this thing. It's freaking nuts. This thing is insane. Like, I'm just going to say it. I can't believe the amount of power we are getting out of this. Now, guys, you've seen that big, like 9-foot tall fireball, right? We're burning all of that fuel right now in this very small area. And that is key to the project that these burners are going on. There's going to be 6 of them running a monotube boiler for a guy who's going to be trying to break a record, essentially. I don't want to get into too much detail until he gives me permission, but it is a very interesting project, and it requires the most exotic burner available. So we had to pull one out of the hat here. This is definitely out of the box. I have never seen anything like this. This is a rocket engine propane burner, in my opinion.